So it has to be based on your capstone question in terms of empathy, networking, nurturing, and role modeling.
Role modeling.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Lola Quan Bautista. I'd say at the center of it, I'm a daughter and a sister and a promised sister and an aunt and a godmother and a wife, of course. And beyond that, I am an educator, filmmaker, a community advocate. So that's sort of my larger roles. I didn't really grow up in the kitchen. I grew up outside of the kitchen. So I was born and raised on Guam. And my mom really emphasized higher education. So college brought me to Washington State. I'm not sure I wanted to be an educator first, or I had some things that I wanted to know more about. So when I graduated in high school in '86, there's lots of changes going on in Guam. There were many other Pacific Islanders who were coming to Guam. And these were folks that were coming mostly from the Federated States of Micronesia. Many times there were men, unmarried men, looking for jobs, so they came and they worked on the farm that we lived on. And so of course my father hired them. So working side by side, getting to know them, trying to figure out how is it that we know so little about them, sort of sparked my interest. That's the thing that I wanted to study when I left. So in 2006, I was doing some research in the northern area of Guam, working with a community that was mostly from the Federated States of Micronesia. And in one of their nightly meetings, they had invited me, and it was sort of a formal request to film their struggle. That's how I came to filmmaking.
We want justice! We want justice!
Early in 2006, the Guam Environmental Protection Agency had learned about these growing subdivisions, and they served them with a notice of violation because they weren't properly hooked up to a sewer line, and they were threatened with evictions.
I felt the weight of it. They know how they're being depicted on the news, in the newspaper. It's pretty horrible. There was lots of tensions between indigenous people of Guam and these other Pacific Islanders. These were groups who, prior to that struggle, they didn't interact with each other. They didn't know about each other's backgrounds as well. In order for these folks to make it in places like Guam and Hawaii, there needs to be better relations with the indigenous people. I'm really hoping for there to be more opportunities for people to interact. And of course, where collectively this group will be uplifted.
Initially, the idea to hold a food fair came from one of the residents, Kenny Sanana.
I want everybody to see us, how we struggle here. I want them to come and see us so we can exchange our understanding of each other.
Personally, I feel really proud about Breadfruit in Open Spaces because I think it really captures, the spirit of the community, and the way that people came together and they were arm in arms trying to move the community forward and fight for their rights. So I just think it's such a rich story. It brings me a lot of joy that I get to depict these folks in a really positive way. That brings me a lot of joy. Yeah, I'd say that all of my films were driven by something that's happened in the community, and it called forth filmmaking. My latest film, Promesa, is a lot a bit different than the films that I have done thus far, because the shift now is on Chamorro people. This one is focused on 4 prayer leaders and the promises that they make to continue on with this novena practice or this novena practice. Puri Signari Santis Kalus na Libraham ki inimig and mommy, Juasai and mommy, Ginani, Tata, Zeni Lahina, Zeni Spiritu Santo. My mom has always been the one to teach me more about, what it is to be a Chamorro, and of course the Chamorro language. She sort of ushered me into learning about the novena. February 2020, my mother-in-law, who lived here in Oahu, she passed away. I took it upon myself to gather her relatives online, on Zoom, to do the lisadzu, the prayers. And after we were done mourning her death, the ladies that were meeting online, they continued to come. And that's what prompted me to do the Promesa film.
Kumo unsangan inubena, unsasangan istorya, par kumakantaho, gi mismo adjuna lingwahi mo, za ilingwahita pinu Chamorro, mamas gai gi tadung, gi corazonta, za tausay inubena, para utsinenik estimas mo na, ilingwahita, kosa ningayan, na ufaling.
I'm beginning to feel the joy, the joy of seeing the impact that the films can make, especially in the classroom. I think I'm going on now 15 years doing film now. If someone had asked me, much earlier, would you take on something like this? I would have said no. There's no way I was going to take on anything more. But it's just there's been so many people who have helped me that you can't say no.